This is the knitting news from Knit Happens Teesside for the 28th week of 2025. My name's Annie, and the other night at knitting, well, Helen was doing a lot of finishing. She was sewing in the end. She's finished the suffragette blanket. And her other half would like to keep it, and she keeps telling him no, so I do suspect there might be another one having to be made at some point, maybe. She also finished off this sparkly shawl for a friend. Now, we thought that the wavy edge was fine, but Helen has chosen to just finish it off with, I think she was using more than one yarn to make it, so she's just used the sparkly one to do the finishing on the edge. I was working on my Absinthe With Van Gogh. And I pulled into the parking place, and as soon as I parked the car, I realised that I'd left the pattern at home. But I did have a daughter at home, so I asked her to send me a picture, as I was just wondering then. I probably had the pattern, but what I needed to do, I'll have had the pattern with me on my phone, but with the cable section I needed to know which row I was on, and at home I had it all marked on a piece of paper. So she sent me a photograph of that, so I was able to do, well, the rows are getting long, so I probably only did about 4 rows between the chit chat and things like that. Yeah, I think if you look at last week's, I've only done about the orange and the pink, I think, there. So it's going quite well. But the reason I haven't done very much knitting is because I have been spinning. I mean, I haven't done a huge amount of either, but I have done quite a bit of spinning because it's the Tour De Fleece. It's the Tour De Fleece. I keep thinking I'm going to say the other thing. So the Tour De Fleece, a few weeks ago went to Darlington Wool Show and bought, turns out they're 50 grams of lots of different shades of sort of pink and orange and yellow, and there's a lilac one as well. So the first 2 days I finished this skein. This one has spun up really nice, and I'm sure it's all the same fibre. So that's the first one, so that's 50 grams, and then after that I chose my next colour. There's a hair in there. There's always a hair in things, isn't there? That's that one. Looking at it, I don't think that one's spun quite as well. I don't know if I was a bit off or not. And I have got used to working on the Ashford Joy again. And the good thing about the Ashford Joy is it's not very high up. So if I'm sitting on the sofa, it's the right height. So it's a comfortable height to work with, whereas Wanda, the Traveller, I sit on a dining chair to spin at that one, because that brings me level to the orifice, so I think it works better. Wee Peggy, the third wheel, we call her the third wheel, she's fastened, I think she's a flax wheel, and I did spin some Wensleydale long wool on her, a small amount, and I will have shown you, and I haven't used her very much. I was just looking around to see, I don't think it's around here. I think it's downstairs. I have a computer here though, and I do throw things behind the computer occasionally. Ooh, in case somebody comes. No, this is the spin before that spin, which is some fleece we were given for helping out on the well, all my spinning looks the same, slightly uneven. This we got for helping out on the Guild of Spinners, Weavers and Dyers stall when it was at Newcastle Racecourse, which is the North East Wool Show, I think, and that's in August, and it's around the weekend of the 8th, I think, and if I can fit it in, I will. I don't have much of a holiday or anything this year yet. And we've got a van outside that we can go camping in. I don't know when that's going to happen because there's things on all the time. Tomorrow is the Durham Miners Gala. Now, I don't think I'm related to any miners. I'm not from this region originally. I am going to go. I'm going to go with some people from the Let Women Speak, and I think the Women's Rights Network are there as well, and I might know some of them, but I'm not sure. But we're going to march with placards, and do you know, Durham is about a 40-minute drive from here, and I've been many times, but I've never been to the gala, so it's a whole new thing for me. Hopefully it'll be good, so I might be able to put some bits on at the end of this video. This is off the Ringtons, man. This is the digest. It's peppermint and licorice and spearmint or something like that. It's very nice. So when I went to knitting, I thought, with all this warm weather, oh, I'll look around for some. Well, what it was, when I went to London, I went through my wardrobe and got all my shoes out, looking for something that would be comfortable, cool, practical, all of those things. So when you wear sandals, if they're very flat, you get sort of mucky toes, don't you? And if you go on any ground that's dusty, you know, you'll get dust in your sandals and grit and bits of stones and things. So I wanted something that was a little bit higher, not that you need to know, and maybe sandals or something cooler. Anyway, I went to a shoe shop yesterday and I did find some. Actually, I've got them on. They should keep my feet off the ground, shouldn't they? Hang on. Just without flashing my knickers. New shoes. So they're very flat, but they're about 2.5 inches. So I'm a bit taller as well, which is always a good thing, isn't it, when you're a little short house. The reason I'm telling you this is because when I was in the shop, the young man said to me, "Are you going shopping after this then? Are you just having a look around the shops?" You know, because they're trained to make conversation. And I said, "No, I'm going knitting." And he said, "Knitting?" And I said, "Yes, knitting." If I put the other one now. Oh, there it is. And in my handbag I had these, so I whipped them out and put them on the counter, and I said, "Look, I've got these. I made these. I've spun these on a spinning wheel." Because when you mention spinning, people think about bikes, don't they? They don't think, like, they think about cycles in gyms. But it was clear because I had it with me in my bag, and he was kind of interested and a bit surprised because, you know, your middle-agedness makes you look a bit boring, doesn't it? But never underestimate a granny. Right, I am wearing, it's kind of a nice length actually. This is made with Rowan denim yarn, so it's cotton and it fades every time you wash it, and the first time you wash it, it shrinks 20 to 25%. What I think I did, I had a vest, I had this shape in a magazine, and I know I mixed two patterns up. I don't know if it was this and I just added the sleeves, or if it was this and then I took this off another pattern, this lace stitch. But this is cotton, so it's a little bit cooler, but I haven't worn it for quite a while. Could wear it more so. I mean, I've put it on to show you. But I could wear it more so if I find something that it goes with. It's always a good plan, isn't it? But blue is quite... But isn't blue quite neutral? It does quite go with things, doesn't it? Right, so what I started last week was clearing out a cupboard. And I showed you some of my quilting fabrics. I've been washing every day this week. So one of those boxes that I bought is only half full. And in this room, I've got way more. So I can fill it up. So I've got a tub of cotton backing fabrics that are just plain. Mostly white. And I've got a tub of patchwork cottons. Mostly bigger pieces, and then I've got a little bag that I've put small amounts in that I'd never find in a big tub, and my tub is only half full. Or have I already said that? So I get a lot more in that cupboard. So that's 2 tubs, and there's 2 empty ones in there as well. There's also a surfboard, a spare quilt, lots of blankets, including one I made, which I could probably show you that one actually. I think it's on the top of the pile. A case, a hoover, a couple of things hanging up. So I've been sorting it out a little bit because my son's been... I'm inhaling my drink now. My son's been living in his own house for a year. Probably about 14 months, and his room's been a tip since he left. It's worse than it was before he left. Though some of it is his. I've just caught it on Dolly Daydream. Honestly, she's just a nuisance. She stands around doing nothing. So yeah, the only make-alongs I'm doing are the Make Orange Great Again, because there's quite a lot of knitting in that. No guarantee I'll get it finished. And the spinning, which is to spin every day. I've decided I'm spinning every day. It started on Saturday, so that it's Friday now. We've had 6 days, and this is a 7th day, and I've only got 2 skeins, so I'm not managing to do 25 grams a day, but never mind. I think by the end of it I should have them all done, because obviously I have to work. Some days I get more spinning time than others, and tomorrow I won't get much done even though it's an off day. So this is a blanket I made for Emily. It's just squares, but they're done like diamonds, aren't they? And then the way we lay the colours out, the central panel is all one colour, and then the changes that go around the edge, and the edge is just... And this one is backed with like a furry fleece. On the sewing machine, in that kind of a pattern. Am I showing you? Can you see? I started trying to do extra sewing there, but it wasn't really necessary. Oh, I've done the corners. All the corners are like that, but the middle section's just loose, because it's most certainly not in use today. This room, it's 26 and a half degrees. I don't know what that is in American. It's a little bit warm, but I'm managing quite well with it being warm. It's not that much of a problem. So my spinning is... I do dance about a bit, don't go from one topic to another. Oh, by the way, Helen found some yarn bombing. Now I was going to tell you a little bit more about my spinning. I'm on sort of like a, on the wall, could have said that right, on the spinning wheel. I'm sort of middle of the road. I think that spinning wheel will go quite fast, or so quite a big ratio, and then it really does pull the yarn in. So I've had to get used to it, because the Ashford Joy seems different than the Traveller. But I sort of pre-draft a little bit, and I've been separating my fibre into thinner sections. I'll show you. Right, this is how it's come. So you can't spin that. I'm sure most of you know that, but if you don't know that, you can't really spin that. You just end up with something that looked like that, probably. So to pre-draft, well, I make it into, you'd pull it, but that's still that's why you'd end up with a chunk, because you can't really separate the fibres. So from one end, you just, this is all already separated, I think, yeah. But you would, break it down into smaller workable amounts. I might split that one, but I'm not sure yet. And then once it's not so thick, you can, it'll pull. It just gets area. So I've watched lots of spinning videos, but they all tell you something a little bit different. Now I don't pre-draft that much really, if I've got them this narrow. But I make sure when I've stopped and then I start again, before I start spinning, I just give it a little bit of a pull to just get it loose, or you can end up with, once you let the spin go into the rest of it, you're kind of stuck. So I always make sure that the spin isn't going into the rest of it before I start spinning each time I sit down. Might be useful. So that's what I've done with these, is I've halved them and weighed them, and then spun one on one bobbin and the other half on the other bobbin, and then ply them together. Now this skein here, I had some of the orange left on. Can you see the little bits of orange? I just thought, well, I love pink and orange together. I thought, why waste it? So because even though you've weighed into half and half, you're still not likely to be exactly the same length, are you, when you're plying? Your pieces of spun, your bobbins are not going to be the same length really. So I just carried it through, and if they're in the same garment together, it won't really matter, will it? I was thinking of stripes, and Liz from Knit Night, which is Knit N-I-T-E, she sent me an idea for a top that's just a t-shirt. I might go for it, because I could wear, because I don't knit many t-shirt shaped items really, because where she lives it's boiling hot all the time, and here most of the year it's not. So usually when I knit things, I usually knit things with sleeves in, but I've only got I've only got about 300-400 grams, so it might not be enough for doing anything bigger. I've just found a random curly bit. That's not very good, is it? So the next colour that I'm on is a pinky pink, a rinky dinky pink, a bit like that kind of pink. Yeah, it's a bit like that, but not as dark. Anyway, I'll show you. So that's what's happening regarding spinning and knitting for me and for the others. Oh, Jill, I did tell you about Jill. Jill is making a lace top that's sideways. And it's supposed to take 2 balls of Debbie Bliss Rialto Lace, which she had 2 different kind of greeny blues that went perfectly together, and she's run out of yarn. So a neck, which is a bit like this, it's kind of a squarish neck. I don't know, the hem. Oh dear, don't normally get phone calls. I'll have to go over and answer this one. Energy advisor, Gabby. Anyway, not talking to her. Where was I? Jill's! So she ran out. So she found some more hair that was a really good colour that she could have used, but she didn't have enough of that. And then she found some, it must be cobweb lace. Some very fine turquoise yarn that she's doubled up, but then it makes it a little bit thicker. But because it's the edges, it's kind of fine. So she's more or less finished. So you'll see that one shortly. And she was wearing something that she'd made. A blue, she wears a lot of blue. She had a blue top on. I think it's going to be warmer tomorrow, and then we're going to get let off. I think it might go back to normality. But I went for a paddle this morning, and it's all been really quite lovely.
Who needs a holiday?
I shouldn't complain, but yeah, it's a bit warm in here right now, so I think I'm going to go downstairs and spin. So more news, maybe next week. I'm in Durham, right in the city, nearly half a mile from the city centre. I thought I'd chance the footpath, but nobody else is coming this way. It looks okay. It's very lovely and cool under the trees, and it's a new route for me, and I haven't got my microphone with me because it's a great big thing. Right, hopefully this will be alright. The arrow pointed this way. It's a bit steep. Look at those roots, they're good, aren't they? I think the other way would be to the university. I'm near the park near the university. Can't park in the centre. Not where I normally park. I can see why nobody comes this way. Because it's stupid. Oh goodness. Right, I've just gone up a big hill, I'll show you. I don't think you can see that well, but this is the centre of Durham. Now Durham's a city, but it's really not very big. Oh, butterfly. Silver bear. Nice. This tree is lovely. Still going uphill. Excuse the panting. See why nobody came this way. Footpath. Just use the pavement. How are we going to get a view at the top of here? Oh, yes we are. Whew. Oh, it's cool under this tree. Loads of trees. I know where that is. That's where I couldn't turn down, where those houses are. There's a roundabout where I would have gone. So I'm thinking maybe this way. Will you tell me which way to go, crows? I can't see the cathedral yet. I can hear distant music. So I'm here today for Durham Miners Gala. I've never been before. I live 40 minutes drive away. I was always put off by the crowds. But this time I'm taking part. On behalf of women's rights. Looks like I'm going to scratch my legs down here. This is ridiculous. Oh God. Through the brambles, through the woods. Back through the woods to the car via this more sensible route. It's kind of good. I always drive, so I didn't really know this pavement was like this. But there's a ridiculous bike lane there. Look at that bike lane, it's like half of the road. Watch this car come up. Cannot possibly stay in the car lane. That's never made sense to me. My car's just along there, and then I can go home.
Oh, went to Oldham, got some yarn.